extremely excited because today's interview is going to be with the High Priest Ash. Super duper dope vampire. So if you guys don't know who he is, you check him out on his channel, Fallen Souls. You can go on his Instagram and follow him. He's just coming out right now, but I find the coolest, sickest people to come on my show, people that are real people, people that have that good energy, not these nasty, vengeful motherfuckers out here. These are real practitioners and who really want to make a difference in people's lives. So that's what my channel is going to be more about. I have in store some people you have never met before. I mean, the gods are putting them in my pathway to present them to you guys, to my following, because the people that follow me are totally different than people that follow a lot of other people's channels, because I'm more down to earth. I like to have fun with life, and I'm here to show you guys we can do it. We can all just have a fucking good time and talk, and so here he is. I hope you guys enjoy my time with Mr. Ash. I sure did. Bye. Welcome everyone back to my channel. Today I have the amazing Ash, the vampire. Welcome, Ash.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
So I am so excited to talk to you. I found your channel a month ago, and I was like, man, I gotta talk to this person. You teach very well. You teach.
Okay. So the primary difference between someone who is practicing vampirism and someone who is a real vampire and who needs to feed in order to maintain their baseline energy levels is that a real vampire will experience the hunger, and this won't matter necessarily where they are or who's around them, although sometimes it'll intensify if there's energy around, but it won't necessarily have to be there in that. Usually it'll still persist outside of being around people. But also there is a chronic lack of energy if that person does not feed. So in addition to, that hunger being experienced. So if the vampire doesn't feed, they won't die or anything. They're not gonna expire, but they're gonna be at a lower baseline energy level. So they're gonna be more lethargic, and they're gonna have a harder time going about their day. They're gonna have to struggle through more stuff than ordinarily someone might. And though those can have a number of other physical causes and spiritual causes even, so that by itself, that chronic lack of energy isn't enough to be considered a vampire, but if the hunger and the feeding satisfies your hunger, then you're probably a vampire.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And you know what? It's funny because I can guarantee you there's all these people out here that don't understand vampirism or practice spirituality who suffer from depression, but it's probably because they need to feed. But they probably don't even know why they can't move, why they're depressed, why they have no energy.
Right.
It's what I mean? All those people that take all these pills, it's probably because they just need to fucking feed.
For some people, probably. I mean, that there could be some people, and I'm sure that there are plenty of people who obviously have depression, and that should be taken very seriously. But there may be some people who, if you find yourself experiencing these symptoms and you try feeding and you find yourself feeling better, then maybe you're a vampire,
Yeah.
So.
Okay, so I have another question. I have a question. So I've heard this is something I've heard about some vampires, that there are people who are vampires that actually can physically live longer. And in our community, there are people who could be a couple hundred years old, and they might or maybe even older, and they do feed off of the living. And there's people that are after them or something like that. Have you heard of things like that?
I have largely been under the impression that those things are mostly myths. I have seen that many in the vampire community tend to look younger for longer, but that we also tend to do a lot of, many of us anyway, tend to do a lot of glamours or charms or things that, make us more physically appealing for reasons, but we and I explain that in my Real Vampires video as well a little bit. So if you want to hear more about that, you can check that out. But whether there is an actual physical difference from the effect of um, like actually feeding, extending your life is questionable. I'd be perfectly open to being shown that that is true if that is the case. But from what I've experienced, from what I've seen, I think that that's largely a myth. That we might be able to. It might be that feeding makes us look younger for a
Hmm.
while, but we still die, and at about the
Yeah.
same time as most people die.
Um. So what demons do you work with? What spirits do you work with?
So I work with I work with a number of spirits. My primary spirits include Lucifer. I work also a lot with Lilith. I work with Samael, um, Mammon as well, and two other demonic entities which many might chortle at, but it is my practice, who are Zinch and Slanesh.
Yeah.
So those are my primary spirits. I'm not
Well,
sure how.
who cares what people think? This is my channel. We do what we want to do, and we talk about. I want to know about those two spirits you just talked
Mm.
about. Let's hear about them.
So I'll preface this by giving a little overview
Hmm.
about why I incorporate these kinds of spirits. So I am of the belief that all kinds of spiritual beings exist because there's sort of an infinity of possibility out there, and that everything is manifest in some place or another.
Hmm.
Um, I believe that if you were, let's say you were a spirit, right? Let's say you were a spirit that nobody who knew about yet, right? And you wanted to start meeting occultists and people who would want to work with you, and you might want to help some people out, or maybe like spread your word out there, whatever, you know? So if you were to contact a prophet today, what do you think is going to happen? You're probably going to get thrown away, called a loony, whatever else. Who knows?
No, but there are people that work with new
Yeah.
spirits.
And there are,
Hmm.
but and then that's another thing. Sometimes they'll reach out to occultists, and you'll
Hmm.
get that, where you'll get an occultist who'll be like, "Hey, I met this spirit, and here's some information about them," and they can
Hmm.
spread them to a select amount of people. But imagine if you were to inspire an author of a popular series, or if you were to inspire a game maker or something with your name and idea. Just give them the idea. They don't have to know it comes from a spiritual source,
Yeah.
and then suddenly you're being paid attention to by tons of people.
Yeah.
So I believe that if there is, actual power behind a lot of entities that are originally created as works of fiction,
Hmm.
and that when one actually reaches out to some of these beings, they'll find that they actually do respond and work with.
Yeah.
So,
Kind of like
Zinch,
Lovecraft
yeah.
stuff too, right?
Yes, a lot of people work with Lovecraft entities, especially on the left-hand path. So that should
Like I'm
be
working with
not as,
Haskar.
huh? What's
I'm
that?
working with King Haskar right now.
Right. That works. Yeah. So, Tzeentch and Slaanesh are both demonic chaos gods from the Warhammer 40k universe. Tzeentch being the demon god of change and magic and knowledge and sorcery and those things, and Slaanesh being the demon god of pleasure and excess and joy in general, and perfection as well.
Hmm.
So both of those spirits have been um, incredibly enriching to my practice and have given me a variety of very palpable signs and messages that have completely shown that they are beings with real power. So,
That's awesome. That's awesome. Um. Oh, Is your parents? Are your parents vampire? Like, do
my
you?
parents, no, it's not necessarily hereditary in that way.
No.
Um, I no, I don't believe they are. I mean, there's a chance, but if they are, they probably wouldn't even know. But I never got any signs that they were, so
No.
I don't think so. Um, there are
What
some
about
who
your siblings? Do you have any siblings?
I do not have any siblings, no.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But no, I don't know that it has anything to do with the physical bloodline. It seems
It's your
more with
astral.
it has more to do with our energy, our
Hmm.
our soul body, that sort of thing. And I think it is more likely, honestly, that our soul passes it from life to life rather than it is that we pass it through our bloodlines.
Yeah, I agree. Absolutely agree. Yeah. Um. So what's your plan? What's your plan? What do you have any more plans? You're just gonna keep on making more videos. I'm sure you have lots of you have lots of content coming your way because you're
Yeah,
just beginning.
yeah, I've got like lists and stuff of various things I want to talk about. We're still working on a website. Eventually, I mean, the website's only going to start out with some basic stuff on it at first, some
Hmm.
contact info and what have you, some information about us and the temple. Later on, we want to be able to make. I'm not actually sure if we're going to stick with the website, honestly, because we might move to another platform. Because basically, we wanted to have something where people could join us. Like if
Hmm.
people want to join the temple and like,
Hmm.
I mean, there wouldn't be any like fee or like anything like that. It would just be like people wanted to be a part of, Fallen Souls
Yeah.
and you know, I am starting a Patreon soon, so that will be a thing I'm doing. I just want to keep putting out content, honestly, for now, since I think, occult education is something that I like to do, and if I can help people out with it, that'd be great. I would like to eventually make the temple like an actual place people can go, but that's a very long-term goal. I don't have nearly enough funds for that as of yet.
Well, you
But
never know what the future
down the
holds,
line.
right?
Yeah, yeah, that'd be, I mean, hopefully that would be a dream.
Yeah. I think it's more needed. There should be more communities out there for people like that. Like that's what we're trying to work for is to break down this system and all these Christian monotheistic places and temple. I mean, if they have their temples, we need
Why
our
can't we?
temples up.
Yes, I
You
agree.
know,
Um,
like I'm
you
in
know,
Canada. You're in the States, right?
yes, I'm out in Colorado at the moment. Yeah,
And that's the one thing I do give credit to the TST is that they are fighting for the right to practice spirituality.
right.
They go up against the politicians and they do the demonstrations and they
Yeah,
do push.
and
Yeah, they're atheists,
yeah,
but really they are doing something and
right,
making a path for people like
right.
us to practice whatever we want to
I
practice.
have
So I got to
far
give
more
that to them.
respect. Yeah, I have far more respect. I have absolute respect for atheists who are willing to fight for the rights of everyone. I have no problem with whatever beliefs anyone wants to hold. I think that we
Yeah,
should be free to,
yeah,
explore things on our own and figure out what we think about reality and what we think about things. I think people should be free to pursue their own things in that regard. Even if I don't like the overall Christian message at all, obviously. But if people weren't shoving it down everyone else's throats, it wouldn't be nearly as much of a problem.
yep,
And
exactly.
part of what we do as people who follow demonic paths, especially as try to set people free from tyranny and show them their own inner light instead of the
Yeah,
divine. You know, so
it's
I
true.
think that's important.
It's true. People notice you. It's the people that just are.
Mhm.
They don't need to push they don't need to say anything because they are that and people they're like who is that? What's that about them that they have? I want what they have. That's what you want. You don't want to push it down people's throats.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Hold on.
Well, as far as anything else I can really
Hey,
talk
are
about,
you do you do any music?
music. Oh, I wish I'm not much of a musician myself. I'm trying to learn some
Yeah.
things. Like I'm just starting to pick up guitar, but I'm not ready
Do you do
to.
poetry and stuff like that? I can
Oh, as
see
far
you
as
doing
arts are
poetry.
concerned, absolutely. I do write. Um, I write a lot. I
Yeah.
want to write novels eventually, but I may focus more on occult nonfiction eventually. Maybe
Yeah.
doing this sort of thing, it might be a good thing to also write in that regard. But there are so many good occult books out there that like I don't know if I would. I could probably find something that I could add my voice to, but it would take some time.
It's good to
Um,
have a bunch of you see with the cult because there is so much out there and so many it's so easy to make books now and it's so easy
yeah.
to get it out there. But if you get a group of people making a grimoire, you got a better chance of people wanting to read it.
Absolutely. I think
You can
if
be
I
like
did
the vampire diary, the real vampire diaries.
right, I mean, it would be cool to write a book about real vampires and such.
Hmm.
I've also kind of considered in the past, no guarantees to anyone, but I've also considered in the past writing a book about like how to develop your own spiritual practice that makes it work for you, and wade through all the crap that's out there so that you can
Yeah.
develop your own practice in such a way that like can really enrich your life. Without, just listening to everyone else, necessarily. Well, I mean, you can, it's good to listen to other people, but it's about knowing how to differentiate what you want to keep in your own practice versus what you wouldn't.
Well, yeah, because you can get wrapped up. You could read a bunch of people's books, and then you start to do their thing, and
Yeah,
they want that. A lot of people want you to work their systems because it empowers
yeah,
your system and it empowers them. But if you
right.
can take, and I'm not here to discredit any authors because they do the
Oh, of
work,
course.
they put in the
Yeah,
time, but you should take
what works.
what resonates with you and incorporate in your own
Right.
practice, because the whole thing is to always be on your own, and to
Yeah,
have your intuition always being your own intuition and not somebody else's intuition, right?
absolutely. Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree.
I have a question, another question.
Sure, sure.
If there's one place that you could go visit in the world that has that, like, with other vampires, because there are kind of like cool places to go, where would you want to go?
I could go anywhere in the world for what about vampires?
You know how there's like all these vampire gatherings in like
Oh,
Transylvania, or like these
geez.
castles and stuff. Would you want to go somewhere there?
I mean, it'd be cool to tour some of these old places, but I don't know about gatherings there. I mean, there are gatherings out here where I live. We real vampires have communities in
Yeah.
all the sorts of areas. And there were vampire balls even out here that, well, at least before the pandemic. We had a vampire ball out here in Denver. Apparently there's one in New Orleans, which is reportedly really cool. But
New
I
Orleans is cool, bottom
yeah,
line.
it would be cool to just go to New Orleans in
Oh yeah.
general. But as far as travel overall, so many places I'd love to go.
Yeah.
But yeah, as far as to gather with vampires in any particular location,
See, can't
uh,
I live in Canada, and I've looked for like so much shit here. There was one, Jeremy Crow had something years ago, okay? He doesn't have it anymore. He was doing some stuff for Luciferians, nothing. And the only other thing is the TST. I haven't found any other group. Not that it would be nice to go and just to hang out with people. Like, all my friends are all in the States,
yeah,
you know.
yeah, yeah. Yeah,
But
I have
whatever.
moved to Canada, but
Huh?
I do have a friend that moved to Canada, but
Oh,
I haven't seen
Toronto?
him in a long time.
Mississauga?
No, he's like directly north of Colorado. I forget which province that is because I'm a dumb American. Um,
Hey, 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 we live in igloos, okay?
but
We
yeah,
just eat bacon and maple syrup.
I mean that sounds like a good life to me. But yeah,
Um, so for a beginner, we'll just ask one last thing. For a beginner person who wants to practice vampirism, what literature would you suggest them to start reading? What's some good
oh,
literature for you?
I think my favorite book on the topic is probably D.H. Thorne's Infernal Vampire Handbook, especially if it's a practitioner on the left-hand path that wants to learn about vampirism and about real vampires, because D.H. Thorne does go into that a bit as well, and he talks a lot about energy theory and like goes into how it all works and such. And I discussed one of those energy theories a little bit on my channel, but he goes into one of those in detail.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and he talks about how people become vampires and that sort of thing. And I think that that's a really good resource. So yeah, and he has a great channel too for black magicians as well.
So do you feed at nighttime too? Like, does your astral body leave and go and feed off the living and then come back and then you're all?
I am a sanguinary vampire. So I primarily feed through blood. I can feed psychically, but it doesn't really satisfy the need as much for
Okay.
me. Um, I can do that sort of thing. Like if I wanted to astral project and go feed on someone in the night, I could do that.
Hmm.
Um, I don't very frequently because I have
You have the
uh
blood.
I have a donor, someone who consents and enjoys the activity of feeding a vampire. This
How
is
much blood do you drink? Like, is it just like a little slit,
it's
a little
much.
shot?
It's like it comes out to basically a few drops or so. Like,
Because
I make
saw
a small cut. Yeah.
yeah, and
You know,
that will satisfy your hunger for what? A day, two?
a while actually. Well, it's
Yeah.
different for every vampire, but for me, it's usually a couple weeks after feeding before I start to see a decline. And after that, it's still a few more days or so before I start to get really lethargic and such. But generally, I've been fortunate. Not all of us are because I have a donor, but those sorts of things aren't available to everyone. So
Yeah. If I had a vampire friend, I'd be a donor.
well, that's awesome.
I swear. I'd be like, oh, sure, come feed.
Right. And yeah, it's for those who are out there who are thinking I would totally be a vampire donor. Make sure both of you get tested.
Oh yeah.
That's important. Even if you're a vampire, you can still catch diseases.
Oh, for
So
sure.
be careful. I have a video that'll be coming out in probably about a monthish, or maybe a little bit less. I'm still working on editing it right now. That will be talking more about the specific practice of vampirism and like how to actually go about doing it.
Mm-hmm.
So when that comes out, that might help a little bit as well.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, that was great.
Yeah, thank you very much for all this.
Yeah. And if anybody wants to see me and Ash talk more, just put it in the comments, and we'll think of other stuff to talk about. You are a delight, and I really enjoy talking to you. And I'm sure everyone's going to enjoy watching more of you because, yeah, you deliver the messages well. You teach well. You teach well, and you present yourself classy and well. So I like that.
I do my best.
Yeah.
But
So
yeah, it's been great.
that's it.
Yeah. Awesome. I said awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
Okay. So enjoy your night. I don't
You
know.
as well.
It is probably 7:30. You're around the same time zone as me, I think.
I'm I think about 2 hours behind. I used to live on the East Coast, so there's about because I used to live in Massachusetts.
Mm-hmm.
So same time zone as that, and that's 2 hours ahead of here. So if it's probably about 5:30 here, it's about 7:30 over there. I'm guessing.
I think so. No, it's not 10:30. It's earlier than 10:30.
Oh, I thought you said 7:30.
Yeah, it's 7:30 it's probably like 7:30
yeah,
for me. Yeah, I say 7:45, 7:30.
It's 4:39 here right now.
Okay, 4, 5, 6, 7.
So that's interesting. Yeah.
Hey, what's your favorite vampire movie?
Oh, geez, there are a few. I really like the Interview with the Vampire and Queen of the Damned movies based on Anne Rice's novels. I love the novels. Well,
yeah, me too. The original one.
On Netflix, there's the Dracula miniseries, which is each one is about almost movie length by itself, and there's 3 episodes. And that is actually a
the
really
Dracula
good
one.
Yeah, on Netflix.
Yeah, I saw that. It was good.
The first 2 episodes I really liked. The last one was but it was still alright.
Yeah, the Dracula movie, the new Dracula movie, when he goes up into the mountain and the demons.
I don't think I've watch it, honestly. I really should. I know it's kind of weird, but
you have to watch it. It's so good. Go. It's so good. It's so good.
I will. Yeah.
Did you ever watch True Blood?
Huh?
Did you ever watch True Blood with Sookie?
I have not. Is it good?
You gotta go and watch True Blood.
Yeah. There's a lot I've missed out on. I'm kind of like weird with movies. Like I haven't seen like half of the movies that everyone else has seen. Have you seen the original What We Do in the Shadows? It's amusing.
Who-be-doo?
What We Do in the Shadows, the original one.
No.
The older one. It's really great and it's funny. Like it's about vampires who live as flatmates, and it's pretty funny. Yeah, but if you like the humorous ones.
Okay.
But yeah, those are some good ones.
Well, it was awesome talking to you, and we'll keep in touch. And thank you.
Thank you as well.
Thank you for everyone for watching, and ask questions, add comments, and go find Ash. Bye.